here are 7 different myths to make sure to know these are not true, at least across the board as a generalization about the industry. Many people think, oh, somebody is so wealthy, they don't really have to worry about anything. There's no risk for them. They're already super wealthy. In their position, they feel almost the opposite, right? They're being audited by 4 different states and 3 different years by the federal government as well. They might be blackmailed by 2 employees who are disgruntled, and they get together and both make up a story to try to make that person look bad and say, hey, we're going to say you did this, and if you don't pay us both off, then they're going to believe us over you because it's 2022 and that's what happens, et cetera. And I have clients that's had that happen to them many, many times. One other myth is that they don't need capital preservation. A lot of them did not become ultra wealthy by being loose with their money and not being careful with it. So a lot of them care about downside risk, collateral, especially if it's not in an area where they created their wealth. If they made their wealth in self-storage development or stem cells or venture capital and high tech, then they're often willing to take outsized perceived risk in that area because they could step in and be chairman or CEO or use their distribution networks or their social networks to get things done and hire the right talent to do it. But outside of that area, they oftentimes like to structure things in a smart way that protects their downside so they don't lose the wealth they worked so hard to gain. Many people believe if you have a family office, you don't need income. It's all about getting big returns and giving them the best deal possible. But a lot of families like to increase the amount of income in their portfolio. But this changes based on their net worth. So if you're worth 20 to 50 million or $70 million, the percentage that you want to be income producing is going to be decently high. If you're worth a couple of $1 billion, maybe based on where you are in the market cycle, you might value income more versus less. But in general, you don't need a large percentage to pay for your family's needs. Even if you need to make $3 million a year in income off of $5 billion, it's not a high amount of income that needs to come off of that. Versus if you're worth $50 million and you want 7 figures of passive income, it has to be a different percentage to make those numbers work. So it's just something to keep in mind. A lot of people treat family offices as kind of dumb money, not explicitly saying that out loud, but they say, oh, institutions won't give me a huge check unless I have this big established momentum. The small investors are too small to raise the capital we need. Let's go to family offices. And they kind of throw stuff out there at them thinking, okay, they're just going to write us a check for this. But it takes a lot of relationship development. And we're going to talk about all the different criteria that you should be using as a private investor, if that's why you're here today, to screen deals out. And family offices are some of the smartest money out there. Of course, there's some people who made a lot of money and then they don't know what they're doing yet and they start just investing in everything around them or whoever knows them best. And we're going to talk about that mistake later. That does happen. But a lot of people who are raising capital treat family offices as dumb money, and they're not. A lot of people think you cannot reach family offices through new media like social media, but almost all my clients have LinkedIn. A lot of them have Facebook and other social media accounts. I don't see a lot of them spending a ton of their time on TikTok or updating their Instagram all the time. They might have a PR team that does for their corporate brand, but that's just my experience with my clients. A lot of people think that family offices are cheap because they negotiate or haggle, but really they just don't want to invest and get a Civic with no air conditioning and pay the price of a Rolls Royce. They could the price of a Rolls Royce without missing the money at all. No big deal. It's not a lot of money to them. But the point is they want to get value for their money. And they didn't become wealthy by not being good at reading that equation and knowing what the market price is out there. And then many times family offices are not out there for the highest returns, which we already talked about. We show this in almost all of our workshops. It's so critical. It's important for private investors to look at this as much as those raising capital. If you're going into meetings as an investor and you don't know the leadership or have a lot of trust in them yet, and you don't know the industry and you're not local to the opportunity, you're probably not going to do that deal, or maybe you shouldn't be doing that deal. Maybe you have a real desire to learn about that industry. So it's important for you to go to that meeting, study the industry, and build out your allocation within real estate or some niche that you believe is going to be big in the future. Like maybe you believe in healthcare and you want to learn more about how to invest in healthcare, et cetera. But if you go to meetings as a private investor and you say, okay, well, what industry do I really know well? And what is local to me? Or who do I know best to start with? And you look at the combination of that and you reflect upon what your goals are as an investor, it's going to save you time in meetings leading to actually getting deals done versus having a lot of meetings that don't go anywhere. And if you're raising capital, everyone raised capital from friends and family first, and they go to others. And what people miss is that if you go to people who made all their money in your industry, they're going to realize the value you've created in your opportunity or not pretty quickly. And investing capital is about building trust. So going to those local to you or local to the opportunity is critical.